court to return to Portugal for the Christmas holiday. In sports news, the Gambia's under-15 girls and boys teams have returned home, having been crowned champions and runners-up respectively at the recent WAFU A Schools Football Tournament. These and other stories coming ahead. Do stay with us. Thank you very much for staying with us. If you are just tuning in, this is the QTV Nightly News. Now, the National Youth Conference and Festival wrapped up on Sunday with
the sustainable attainment of the Focused Recovery National Development Plan. These resolutions are reflective of the shared vision and aspiration of Gambian youth and will provide guidance to the Ministry of Youth and Sports.
It has been a tough and rigorous discussions where divergent views were heard, ideas were tested, and later resolutions were developed, scrutinized, and then adopted as we sought earlier.
Vice President Muhammad B.S. Jallow was the guest speaker.
You can be assured that this government has been ready and will continue to lead while carrying along the youthful population among us as we prepare you for leadership roles. Our vision as a government is to look back at the end and at this blueprint and be proud that we achieve all or at least most of what we have envisioned in the National Development Plan.
Delegates from various regions were awarded various prizes for participating in various activities of the NACONF. Cash prizes were also awarded to various delegates who pitched successful business ideas, and finally, the winners of the beauty pageantry. The convergence concludes with 7 recommendations encompassing civic engagement, the environment, the creative industries, the economy and education, peace and security, ITC and innovation, and tackling gender-based violence. The National Youth Conference's success this year marks another step towards empowering young voices, fostering collaboration, and inspiring positive change in a country that desperately needs the views, voices, aspirations of the youth to be taken into account and acted upon on the path towards youth empowerment and national progress. Osman Chata reporting for QTV News.
Congratulations there to all the winners. Now, the National Environment Agency, NEA, organized a one-day national sensitization workshop for religious leaders to discuss environmental issues. Loli M. Kamara covered the opening, and this is her report.
The objective of the dialogue is to strengthen the knowledge of religious leaders on environmental issues.
And if we destroy it, we don't have anywhere. And if we destroy it, we don't have anywhere to go. We will be the victim of what we have used our hands. The victim of what we have used our hands to create. So it's a challenge that every home. Let me start it from home. The parents has to teach their children on how to take care of, to be a responsible citizen, right from home.
The Executive Director of the National Environment Agency, Dauda Baji, while thanking the sponsors of this project, highlighted the importance of preserving the environment and how religious teachings can guide individuals and communities towards sustainable living. He also calls for collaboration in the fight to protect our environment
in the Gambia, and how these findings can inform public discourse and media reporting. Afrobarometer's latest survey in the Gambia, public discourse and media reporting. Afrobarometer's latest survey in the Gambia highlighted significant insights into the country's governance and democratic processes. The data revealed citizens' attitude towards political institutions, public trust in government, public trust in government, and their satisfaction with public services. Among the most notable findings were concerns about transparency in government's operations, levels of corruption, and the perceived effectiveness of political leadership in the Gambia. Sen Mati Jau, the national investigator for the Center for Research and Policy Development, elaborate on the recent findings.
We see that health, increasing cost of living, and crime security are the top three most important problems that citizens want the government to address. Citizens express that the economic situation of the country has worsened compared to 2018, which definitely calls for swift intervention by government. Majorities also report improvement during President Barra's tenure with regard to freedom of speech, youth participation in politics, women participation in politics, respect for human rights, and preservation of law and order.
Mariama Davis, the program manager for CRPD, spoke on the importance of data analyzing for reporting.
Sometimes maybe we collect data and it's just lying somewhere. It's just uploaded somewhere. But once we engage and we involve the media, and you people have first-hand experience with the data, and you can see what is happening in real time, I think you will be in a better position to inform the public, to make people know what is happening behind closed doors, so that when people like us, who are researchers and we're up there, when we go down to people and ask questions, once the information is clear and it's substantial for them to understand in the most simplest form, it becomes very easy for us to knock on their doors and they will welcome us.
Journalists expressed concerns over data access challenges, but also welcomed the potential positive impact on reporting revealed by Afrobarometer's data. The briefing underscored that journalists should be trained on data interpretations to ensure they present the findings clearly and understandably. The forum also explored ways to foster public engagement for wider circulation of the findings. Reporting for QTV News, this is Yafatu Gay.
That story there by Yafatu Gay will take us to a commercial break. When we return, we have more local, court and sports news stories for you. Do stay with us.
fii mooy fan fii mooy Inessa di place bi nga xam ne moom la ñëpp taaw place bii bépp xeetu ataaya bu baax rek bu dugg see ci dëkk bi xamal li fii rek la am bara wërga bii neex na lool saf na ba pare tamit nag am gu bu neex boo ko naanee rek da ngay kontaan ci saas añ ba suur ba gëreesal li nga lekk jëndal bara ataaya bii ndax moom la ñëpp taamu gis nga sama client bii ataaya bu neex bu ne moom laa koy njëkk a jox ndax moom kat ataaya bu neex rek lay wër bara wërga bii mooy wërga bi gën te moo gën a saf kon nag ràññee leen ko bu baax kon daw leen gaaw ca Banjul foofu ca Inessa di place bi nga xam ni foofu rek nga ko mën a amee wholesale wala retail mu ngi foofu ci boori court house bi foofu ca Banjul wala nga daw ci bépp marché bépp supermarket bépp boutique fépp foo dugg rek di nga mën a am baara warga bii nga xam ne moom la ñëpp di wër tey baara warga moo dàq ci warga yi man maa ngi ci moom ndax su ma maree ataaya moom rek lay naan.
The Gambia Maritime Administration, GMA, was established in 2006 as the Government Maritime Regulatory Agency. In this role, GMA monitors, coordinates and regulates all maritime activities within the Gambia jurisdiction, primarily focusing on coastal, port and flag state duties relating to maritime safety and security, protection of marine environment and pollution prevention. Protection of the marine environment and pollution is cardinal to the blue economic governance and ensuring sustainability of the oceans. Promotion of the Gambia's blue economy is one of the important pillars of GMA's strategic objectives, through which it seeks to protect the ocean and other water bodies while ensuring their sustainable use and exploitation. GMA prides itself on adopting best practices in the implementation of its program and policies, and seeks to approach issues relating to the governance of the blue economy in a similar manner. Thus, GMA is inviting you to its Blue Economy Awareness Workshop, the very first and one of its kind to create the necessary level of awareness and to appreciate the opportunities the blue economy can offer to the Gambia.
This is the Gambia Maritime Administration, GMA. We are what we do. Do not be left out. Be part of this very important capacity building event. It is geared towards establishing a formidable stakeholder platform that will harness and promote our blue economy for the socio-economic development of our people. And we are together in this. And together we are strong. Be there with us at Baobab Hotel from 16th to 20th December. Thank you.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. Now to the rest of our stories. On Monday, the World Food Programme brought together stakeholders to validate the value chain assessment and market studies on specific crops and fisheries in all agricultural regions in the Gambia. The validation aims to ensure that the findings collected reflected current market conditions and value chains. Ma'am Nabuka attended the opening ceremony, and this is her report.
This validation workshop is part of a broader initiative by the World Food Programme to support the Gambia's agricultural sector. The comprehensive value chain assessment and market studies done on key crops like cowpea, millet, sorghum, fonio, groundnut, orange-fleshed sweet potato, and fisheries across all agricultural regions by the SMD Policy Management Group in partnership with the WFP aims to enhance local farmers' resilience and unlock new market opportunities. This workshop aims to ensure that findings from the VCA assessment and market studies accurately reflect the country's current market conditions and value chains. Here is Lamin Drame, the representative of WFP, and Musa M. Huma, the Director General of the Department of Agriculture.
Your experts and insights are valuable as we work together to redefine our strategies and ensure that our interventions are impactful and aligned with the needs of the communities that we serve.
I have gone through the executive summary. I have seen very, very good findings that will really help us in trying to chart a way for homegrown, sustainable, healthy, equitable, resilient, and reliable food system in this country.
Agricultural experts and stakeholders from various sectors will deliberate during the workshop to understand farming dynamics, local markets, and the value chains that support them, to help validate the data collected during the assessment period. The goal is to create an outcome where the Gambia will fully depend on its local produce, empower local farmers, enrich the economy, and consistently consume other staple crops apart from rice. This is Omar Ba, the head of the school feeding program at the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, and Fatou Jammeh Toure, the Deputy Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Agriculture.
It is very, very healthy because we are so of the food we eat. And this study came at a very better time because it will encourage farmers to diversify their production capacity, not only producing rice, even though it is our staple food, but things like fonio, like this studies has revealed, is very, very important. So I would encourage all stakeholders to take this workshop very seriously, and we will make our inputs. We have to constructively criticize the study so that they can improve on it. At the end of the day, it's going to benefit for all of us.
To fix the food system is everybody's business. Agriculture will encourage the farmers to grow. Nana will educate the farmers to know what to eat. Because you can have food and still not healthy. You need to know what to eat, what the body needs. So Nana has to do that. Food safety has to make sure food is safe. The transport union has to have the proper transport system to be able to transport food from one point to another in its fresh form. The processors have to process in a conducive and healthy environment. Then the consumers have to accept the locally produced, proud of what they have in their countries, to be able to consume that healthy food for all of us to benefit. Then incomes will be generated. Then the cycle will continue.
The insights gained from this workshop are expected to inform future interventions designed to strengthen the value chains of key crops and fisheries, as well as implement targeted support that aligns with the needs of Gambian farmers and fishers, thereby enhancing food security and economic resilience in the Gambia. Mam Nabuka, reporting for QTV News.
And in a new feature, we have a roundup of interesting cases from the courts. The cases featured are from the High Court, Carnifing Magistrates Court, and the Court of Appeal. The details of the cases are compiled by Nicholas Baz and narrated by QTV's Amadou Tamba.
Our first story. The High Court in Banjul has granted alleged drug trafficker Nadine Ismail de Guevara Pereira permission to travel to Portugal for the Christmas holidays, despite state opposition. Justice Ibrahim Ajaite ruled that Nadine, who is jointly charged with possession of prohibited drugs, money laundering, and dealing, is presumed innocent until proven guilty. The defense presented a sortie, Sekou Conte, willing to forfeit a $5 million bond if Nadine Ismail de Guevara Pereira fails to return. The state argued she might flee but could not prove their claim.
The judge ruled that speculation cannot override constitutional rights and declined to increase the bail bond. Nadine will be allowed to travel from December 20th to January 18, 2025, with her passport temporarily returned. She must appear in court on January 20th or Sorti will lose the bond. Nadine is charged alongside co-accused Paulo Javi, facing additional charges of money laundering, and another alleged accomplice, Mamadou Neto Jabi, charged with drug possession. In our second story, in the Kanifing Magistrates Court, Senegalese businessman Abdoulaye Keita has denied charges of fraud and theft brought by his ex-wife, Mami Fatou Salah. She accuses Keita of withdrawing 45,200 euros, over $2.6 million from their joint account at Global Properties in 2021 without authorization. However, Mr. Keita claims he withdrew the funds at her instruction and that he used 35,000 euros for a business investment while paying her monthly rent of $42,000. He also alleged that Mami slapped him and deleted messages from his phone during a confrontation. Prosecutors argue Keita fraudulently disposed of trust property and failed to repay the money after being granted police bail. Keita denies using a forged Gambian passport and says he acted with his Senegalese passport at the time. Now representing himself in court, he has criticized his former lawyer for inadequate representation. The case continues. In our third story, the Gambia Court of Appeal has reduced the life sentence of Abdou Saidi, convicted of raping a 20-year-old student in 2012, to 15 years. The victim testified that Saidi attacked her in an uncompleted building in Brikama, Nyambai, while she was collecting sawdust on her mother's request. Saidi strangled her until she lost consciousness, then raped her. She regained consciousness to find injuries and blood, but was able to confront Saidi, who begged her not to report him. Saidi denied the charges, claiming he didn't know the victim or visit the sawmill. His lawyer argued there was no corroborative evidence, but the court upheld the conviction, citing credible testimony. The appellate judges, however, found the life sentence excessive under recent legislation on sexual offenses and reduced it to 15 years, effective from July 2012. The court reporting details for all these cases was done by Nicholas Bass of The Voice newspaper. For QTV News, Amadou Tamba.
That story there takes us to some sports news stories. Now, the Gambia under-15 champions of the WAFU African Schools Football Girls Championship and runners-up in the boys' competition respectively presented their trophies to the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education recently. Momodu Gajaga attended the ceremony, and this is his report.
The Gambia under-15 girls team, champions of the sub-region, and the boys team runners-up in the WAFU African Under-15 Schools Football Championship in Dakar, Senegal, 2 weeks ago, were congratulated by the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education MOPSI for their achievements, particularly the girls team, which won 4-3 on penalties against Guinea. Habibatu Drame, the Minister of Basic and Secondary Education, praised the team for their incredible achievements.
It would be an understatement if I should say I am thrilled. I am overjoyed by this remarkable achievement of our young boys and girls. This is under 15, and I cannot imagine how far all of you can go if you're given the needed support. You know, you are nurtured rightly as expected. It is an opportunity for the Ministry of Youth and Sport to tap and to grow its sports, especially football, in our nation.
In addition to winning the competition, Jara Bojang was the hero of the finals of the girls' competition, pulling off 2 penalty saves after she replaced Gambia's injured first-choice goalkeeper. She was eventually voted as the best player of the competition. The team presented their replica check prize money and trophy to the minister. Beatrice Biai spoke on behalf of the players.
So even though it was a bittersweet taste, but at least the trophy is now here, and you can see we bring it not only for ourselves, but for everyone in the Gambia. We also thank the male team because even though they don't win the trophy, but they reach to the final. And having the amount of money, and we also having just so something that is grateful that the Gambia, we are taking it further instead of bringing it down.
As champions of the zonal competition, the Gambia's under-15 girls team will represent the region at the 2025 African Schools Football Championship. Age cheating is common in African age group competitions. As such, the players were advised by officials to never tamper with their ages for short-term football gain, especially when they are approached by first and second division teams. Mamudu Gajaga, QTV News.
That story there by Modu Gajaga brings us to the end of this news bulletin, but before we go, here is a recap of the headlines. The National Youth Conference and Festival wrapped up on Sunday with a vibrant closing ceremony. The National Environment Agency organized a one-day national sensitization workshop for religious leaders to discuss environmental matters. The Center for Research and Policy Development recently held a press briefing and forum on the latest findings from Afrobarometer, a Pan-African research network that gathers data on governance, democracy, and citizen engagement. We have a roundup of interesting court cases, including an accused drug trafficker being granted